This is the Wikipedia page for Keith and the Girl. You're listening to the podcast where we read Wikipedia pages and provide commentary. Welcome to WikiListen. I'm Victor Varnado, KSN.
And I'm Rachel Teichman, LMSW.
Keith and the Girl is a popular podcast, and it's about 17 years old, and it's probably one of the longest running podcasts ever. Just saying.
I don't think I've ever listened to it.
Maybe give it a shot. It's funny.
Perhaps.
Let's get started. Keith and the Girl. This article relies too much on references to primary sources. Please improve this by adding secondary or tertiary sources. August 2011. Learn how and when to remove this template message. Keith and the Girl, abbreviated as KATG, is a comedy podcast that began on March 7th, 2005. It is hosted by Keith Malley and Hinda Khalili in Queens, New York. The hosts are known for interacting with their audience live via chat rooms, webcam, and phone calls. In the show, Malley and Khalili discuss their lives and current events in humorous and unrestrained fashion. The show's tagline is, Keith and his ex-girlfriend talk shit.
Acceptance. In June 2008, the show had over 50,000 listeners and in excess of 1 million monthly downloads. It has also received multiple blogosphere podcast-specific awards. The show boasts over 40,000 website forum members.
Show features. Some of the regular features of Keith and the Girl include inviting guests to co-host shows, live shows using a shoutcast feed, and the self-explanatory Strange News.
Recurring themes. Some frequent general topics of the show include New York stories, happenings in New York City, includes stories from Malley's early life working as a waiter after arriving from Somerset, Pennsylvania, HUAR, Humans United Against Robots, news and discussions of advancing robot technologies and their implications.
Fun fact, the tattoo of the robot on my arm is from their HUAR campaign, Humans United Against Robots. And so that's actually the tattoo on my arm.
That is fascinating. I didn't know that was the origin. I thought it was just a robot.
It actually came from, I'll tell you, an episode of the show, and I'll tell you exactly all about that at the end. Keith and the Girl TV and VIP. Keith and the Girl TV began in late November 2007. It is a branch off of the original format of an hour to an hour and a half of talk and is focused more on short 3 to 5 minute comedy skits that usually feature a topic or guest of the previous week's show or news. Topics have included internet phenomenon such as 2 Girls, 1 Cup, and the Cinnamon Challenge to the inner workings of the main Keith and the Girl show. Like the show was inspired by, KATG TV frequently ranks within the top 5 on Podcast Alley. The show has since been merged into the main Keith and the Girl feed and then further merged into the VIP paywall.
In September 2011, Keith and the Girl launched KATG VIP, a paid subscription program that opened up episodes from the back catalog as well as brand new exclusive forms of content. They were ahead of their game. They were among the first to do this, it looks like.
Yeah, they are really, really on top of it. They podcast like crazy. They do it really well. I mean, honestly, I think that the start of it was really Keith Malley, I think, but then obviously Hinda kills it as well. But originally, like it was him. He was running around. I was on a couple of their first shows, and he was running around with like wires and a soundboard and just going from place to place, like making his thing happen because he really believed in it, and he just kept doing it. Now it's his life.
That feels relatable.
It does. Awards. Podcasting Hall of Fame inductee 2018.
Bloggers' Choice Awards 2008, Best Video Blogger, winner.
Podcast Awards 2007, People's Choice, winner.
Podcast Awards 2007, Best Mature Podcast, winner.
Bloggers' Choice Awards 2007, Best Podcast, winner.
Books. What Do We Do Now? Keith and the Girl's Smart Answers to Your Stupid Relationship Questions is Keith and the Girl's Relationship Book, which was released on March 9th, 2010.
In 2014, Keith and the Girl released the Ultimate Podcasting Guide as a how-to for starting and succeeding in podcasting.
Keith Malley. Malley, Born April 15th, 1974, in addition to the podcast, does stand-up comedy once a year. Mally appeared in the independent film She's Crushed, 2009.
Mally comedy discography. Coming of Age, 2004.
Children's Party Songs, 2005.
Happy to Serve You, 2006.
Point/Counterpoint, 2007.
Sue Everybody, 2008.
Culture Shock, 2009.
Can You Imagine, 2010.
Stay Inside, 2011.
State of the Union, 2012.
Good Clean Fun, 2013.
God Made Me, The Very Worst of Keith Malley, Volume 1, 2014.
God Made Me, The Very Worst of Keith Malley, Volume 2, 2015.
A Future to Believe In, 2016.
Awake, 2017.
Drip Drip, 2018.
I'm Dating Your Mom, 2019.
20th Century Fox Film Corporation versus Keith Malley. Anticipating a future Simpsons movie, in 1999, Malley registered thesimpsonsmovie.com as an act of cyber squatting. In 2007, the year of The Simpsons movie's release, Malley rejected a $300 U.S. offer by 20th Century Fox for the domain name. 20th Century Fox took its complaint to the World Intellectual Property Organization and subsequently paid Malley an undisclosed amount for the domain name.
$300?
Yeah,
what?
they offered him $300. Well, I mean, technically, cyber squatting is supposed to be illegal, but
is it really?
Yeah.
You can't just anticipate a brand doing something really big and just like buy the domain name, trying to get them to buy. You can't just do that.
Well, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of all cyber squatting, but I do know that it's kind of like extortion. Like, for instance, if I bought RachelTeichman.com, and
which the other Rachel Teichman owns in Brooklyn, you social worker, I see you. We're going into business together.
All right. Anyway, back to my explanation. But if I was doing that and you needed it, it could basically be extortion. Which is, I think, is what's going down with cyber squatting. However, I don't know for sure. I'm kind of talking out of my butt.
I mean, when you go to make your Club Penguin username the 42069 and like that's already been taken, you just use a different name. That's just how it goes.
It's different when it's people's names or intellectual property. That's where it comes into being illegal. Anyway, just to clear it up. So the reason I have this tattoo is because I was on Keith and the Girl and I had a jar full of coins and I said whoever guessed how many coins was in the jar, I would do whatever they say with the money. The person who guessed was actually Chimda on the show, and she said, get a Keith and the Girl tattoo, and I did.
Wow, that's an amazing origin. Now, isn't it true that at some point you worked on Jack?
That I worked on Jack?
Yeah, didn't you at some point?
No, I think what you're thinking of is I was a gag writer for Bad Trip, the Eric Andre movie.
Oh, never mind.
Which is kind of like Jack is in that world, produced by the same company.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So in that case, I'm going on the right energy here that like you have like working on a project like that. It makes sense that you might make a decision to get a tattoo like that under those circumstances.
Oh, you're saying that because I worked for the company that makes Jackass, that makes me a person who is impulsive?
Well, you wrote gags, and that's definitely the type of gag that would pop up on one of those projects.
Maybe it is, but it's kind of like what I do with my life. I just enjoy it, you know? I have a good time. This has been the Wikipedia page for Keith and the Girl. If you'd like us to read a particular Wikipedia page, let us know. Thanks for listening to WikiListen. To support the show, go to patreon.com/WikiListenPodcast and find us on social media at WikiListen and at wikilisten.com.